welcome to the Deep Dive. You've asked us to unpack the story of one of Azeroth's most complex and, frankly, often overlooked heroes. We're talking about someone whose defining moments mostly happen behind the scenes, far from the big faction clashes.
Yeah, someone whose life is just this intense mix of tragedy, slavery, addiction, but also this incredible, fierce loyalty.
Exactly. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on Valeera Sanguinar. Her story, as you probably know, is deeply interwoven with one of the Alliance's greatest kings, Varian Wrynn. It's almost impossible to talk about one without the other, really.
Absolutely, and that's where the real fascination lies, I think. You can't fully grasp Varian's journey, his whole Lugosh persona, without digging into what Valeera went through right alongside him. Her experiences were brutal.
So our mission today is a deep chronological exploration. We're tracing her entire arc right from the start, from this, traumatized orphan scraping by to the gladiator pits, battling a really crippling magical addiction.
And then actual demonic possession, which is just wild. And through it all, making these huge sacrifices for the family, she chose the Wrynns.
We're basically charting the journey of this blood elf rogue whose loyalty is so intense it kind of sits outside the usual Horde versus Alliance dynamic.
She's a true hero who fought this deadly internal battle while also being this silent guardian for arguably two of the most important people in the world at the time. It's a story of resilience, but resilience built on, well, a lot of pain.
Resilience is definitely the word. Okay, let's get into it. Start at the beginning. How does a young blood elf end up in chains in the gladiator pits of Durotar, of all places, deep in Horde territory?
Well, her origin story really mirrors the tragedy of her people, the Blood Elves. Valeera was young, maybe not a child like we'd think, but definitely still dependent when her world just fell apart.
How so?
Her parents were killed by bandits, not some epic battle, not the Scourge directly, just random cruel violence, and that left her totally alone. She had to rely on stealth, speed, theft, just to survive day to day.
So she became a rogue out of pure necessity then, living on the absolute fringes.
Exactly. She had to be ruthless, just eat, find somewhere safe to sleep, and she was incredibly resourceful. She actually managed to survive the Scourge invasion, the chaos that was tearing through the Eastern Kingdoms.
That alone is pretty remarkable.
It is. She was hardened, no doubt, but surviving by theft, it's always risky. Eventually, her luck just ran out.
What happened? What was the mistake that cost her freedom?
It was almost mundane, really, which kind of highlights how brutal things were. She tried to steal a specific item, a magical talisman from a shaman. Big mistake.
Got caught.
Instantly. But they didn't kill her. They saw her potential, her agility, maybe. They imprisoned her instead, and before she could figure out an escape, she was sold. Sold into slavery.
And that's how she ends up with Rhaegar Earthfury, the gladiator master.
Rhaegar Fury, yeah.
Yeah.
Notorious guy. And he wasn't just looking for any fighter. He needed someone specific.
Right, he just lost his main heavy hitter, Blood-Eye Redfist.
Exactly. So he was scouting for strong replacements. He actually found Varian first, the human washed ashore, strong as an ox, but with total amnesia, the one we later know as Lugosh.
Varian, who had zero interest in fighting for sport.
None at all. And then Rhaegar acquires Valeera. She becomes the third piece of this. Let's call it a very volatile team.
So the trio is Varian, the amnesiac human warrior, Broll Bearmantle, the skeptical night elf druid, and Valeera, the blood elf rogue. Talk about a mess.
Oh, yeah. And the moment they're thrown together in that training area, the crucible of Durotar, the sparks fly, and most of the heat is directed right at Valeera.
Okay, so Varian doesn't want to be there. What's the deal between Broll and Valeera? Why the immediate conflict?
Broll. Well, he comes from that traditional night elf alliance perspective. He sees blood elves or high elves as they were, as basically traitors.
Politically and morally, right.
Both. Politically, because they abandoned the alliance during the Third War, and morally, he believed they'd just given in to weakness, this addiction to magic. He saw it as a fundamental flaw in their character.
Ouch. And Valeera, even in chains, she wasn't having any of that, I assume.
Not a chance. She might have been enslaved, but her pride was intact. She fiercely defended her people. Not defending the Horde, mind you, but defending them as victims. Victims of betrayal.
She brought up the history.
Oh, yeah. She went right into it. Talked about Grand Marshal Garthos, the Alliance commander, who basically betrayed them, left them high and dry during the Third War when the Scourge was devastating Kalthalis.
Right. Garthos basically forced Kalthas's hand, pushing him to look for help elsewhere because the Alliance abandoned them at their absolute lowest point.
Precisely. She laid out that context. Their shift wasn't malice, it was desperation after being betrayed by their supposed allies when they were facing annihilation.
And the addiction. How did she address Broll's judgment on that?
She tackled it head-on, explained it wasn't some moral failing, some choice they made for pleasure. After the Scourge corrupted the Thunwell, their source of magic, they developed this deep, biological need for arcane energy.
A physical dependency.
Exactly. She even says her own addiction was inherited, passed down from her mother's milk. It was about survival, not getting high, and she carried that burden constantly.
So you've got this powder keg of resentment and misunderstanding. How does Varian, the guy with no memory, turn them into a functional team?
Pure action. Pure honor, really.
Yeah.
Which brings us to that key moment, the training ground incident. They're sparring, practicing in Orgrimmar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Valeera is still absolutely steaming from Broll's insult, his constant judgment. She decides she's going to, teach him a little lesson.
Rogue move. Subtle payback.
Totally. She quickly, secretly drains just a little bit of his energy. Not enough to cripple him, she thinks. Just enough to, knock him down a peg, show him what weakness feels like, maybe.
But things escalate before that can even play out.
Yeah, another gladiator team shows up. Rivals. And they start taunting them, hitting all the sore spots.
What do they say?
They called them out specifically. A nature lover for Broll, the druid. A turncoat for Valeera, playing on the blood elf history. And a coward for Varian because he had amnesia and was initially hesitant to fight.
Oof. That hits Valeera's pride hard.
She snaps. Ignores tactics, ignores everything, just charges in furious. But she's agile, not a tank. She gets overwhelmed fast.
And Broll tries to help.
He jumps in to defend her, yeah. But remember that energy Valeera drained? It wasn't insignificant. Broll can't transform into his bear form properly. He can't access his full strength. He's vulnerable.
Oh, no.
And a massive Tauren on the other team sees the opening and nearly takes him out. A killing blow is coming.
So if Varian, the supposed coward, wasn't there...
The team would have been finished right then and there. But Varian, driven by pure instinct, honor, whatever it was, he just explodes into action, takes out the entire rival team himself, and then physically stands over Broll, protecting him. He protects both of them, and that single act, defending them when he had no real reason to trust either, especially after Valeera's move, that's what cemented his leadership, despite the amnesia.
And that must have been huge for Valeera, seeing that kind of honor, especially after feeling betrayed by the alliance structure represented by Garithos.
Absolutely. Her loyalty, her lifelong bond with Varian, you can trace its foundation right back to that moment. He literally saved Broll from the consequences of her mistake. After that, the internal fighting mostly stopped. They became a unit.
And they started winning, big time, moving into the main arena, the Crimson Ring.
They were unstoppable. The synergy was incredible. Broll was the rock, the fury soaking up damage. Varian was the leader, the tactical genius, the unmatched warrior, and Valeera. She was pure speed, agility, the quick thinker spotting openings, delivering the killing blows.
Varian earns the name Logosh, the Ghost Wolf. The legend is born.
Exactly. Their triumphs were legendary. But that success, ironically, is what breaks them up.
How so?
Rhaegar sees Valeera's skill, her reward. She gets sold. Promoted technically to lead a new team, but it meant being ripped away from Varian and Broll, the only people she'd started to trust.
Ouch. So the bonds are tested immediately by separation. They promised to rescue her, but knowing Valeera, she probably wasn't going to just sit tight, right?
Not a chance. Which brings us perfectly into part 2. Escape, pursuit, and the moment her loyalty costs her absolutely everything, she wasn't waiting for anyone.
How did she get away?
Pure rogue cunning. She played the part, pretended to be this helpless, scared little elf girl, totally masked her skills, her intent. They put her on a griffin with an escort, flying high over a forest.
That move on their part.
Huge mistake. The second they were airborne over dense woods, she made her move. Pushed the escort right off the griffin, then used her stealth, vanished into the trees below. Classic Valeera.
Okay, so she's free? Does she try to find Varian and Broll?
Yeah, she doubles back, heads towards Thunder Bluff, figuring they might try to get help there, but she just misses them.
What happened with their escape?
They got help from Archdruid Hamul Runatotem. He gave them a crucial item, a blue hippogriff feather. Broll, being a druid, could use it to summon the hippogriff, and poof, they were airborne and gone.
So Valeera missed the reunion, but she found something else, didn't she? Something vital.
Oh yeah, this is where her skills really shine. She didn't rescue them physically, but she gathered critical intelligence. She overhears a conversation, a very, very important one.
Who was talking?
Megatha Grim Totem. Yeah, that Megatha talking to an assassin. And the conversation reveals a whole plot. Onyxia, the black dragon, hiding in Stormwind, manipulating everything.
She found out Logosh was still alive.
Exactly. Onyxia's plan relied on controlling the weaker, more pliable Varian she'd left in Stormwind. The existence of this strong-willed, honorable Logosh version was a massive threat. He had to die.
And Valeera hears this, having seen Varian's honor firsthand, having been saved by him. She knows what she has to do.
Her mission instantly crystallizes. Protect the king. Keep Varian alive. She becomes the shadow, tracking the assassin who is now tracking Varian and Broll across the continent.
This whole chase sequence really highlights the prejudice she faces, doesn't it? Trying to save the King of Stormwind, but constantly being attacked by Alliance forces.
The incident in Ashenvale is the perfect example. Varian and Broll are trying to get to Theramore, to Jaina Proudmoore. The assassin, who's human, walks right up to the Night Elf Sentinels, asks for directions or info, and they just give it to him. He looks like one of them, right?
Meanwhile, Valeera, the actual ally trying to protect Varian, shows up.
And because she's a blood elf, the Sentinels attack her on sight. No questions asked. Traitor. Enemy.
So she's forced to keep her distance, track them from the shadows, constantly dodging the very people sworn to protect the person she's guarding.
It's incredibly ironic. Her loyalty is purely to Varian, not to any banner, but the world only sees the banner. It makes her job insanely difficult.
Okay, so she follows them, dodging sentinels. Where does this chase finally lead?
It culminates near the coast of Feralis. They're getting ready to sail, Varian and Broll. The assassin finally gets his chance, lines up the perfect shot on Varian. It looks like it's over.
But Valeera makes her move.
Just in the nick of time, she throws one of her daggers with perfect accuracy, hits the assassin square in the back. The force of the impact sends both of them, Valeera and the assassin, tumbling off their mounts.
Do Varian and Broll even realize what just happened?
Nope. They just know the immediate threat is gone, maybe assume the assassin fell. They continue on their journey, completely oblivious to her sacrifice.
And Valeera and the assassin.
They fall right into a giant spider web, like a massive one.
Seriously?
Seriously. Valeera's badly injured from the fall, but she tries to interrogate the assassin, find out who sent him, how deep the plot goes. But before she can get much, the owner of the web shows up. Big spider. End of conversation.
Oh, great. So she's injured, trapped. How does she get out of this one?
She gets rescued, thankfully,
Right.
by someone named Adrian, who happens to be an ally of the powerful mage Egwin. Adrian gets her to Theramore, where she can finally heal. And it's there, while she's recovering, that Varian meets Jaina, finally gets his memories back, learns he's the true king of Stormwind.
So the trio is finally reunited, healed up, and Varian knows who he is. Their next step is getting back to Stormwind.
Right. They set sail from Theramore towards Menethil Harbor. But this journey, this is where everything changes for Valeera, where her loyalty slams headfirst into her deepest vulnerability.
A magical addiction.
The addiction. They're attacked at sea by Naga. During the fight, Broll gets into serious trouble. He's battling a powerful Naga sea witch.
And Valeera sees an opportunity?
She sees the sea witch's staff. It's just crackling with raw, potent, arcane magic. She knows instantly she could drain that power, use it to save Broll.
But she also knows the cost, the risk of reigniting that hunger.
And Broll knows it too. Remember, he was the one judging her people for their addiction. Now he sees the look in her eyes. He warns her, don't do it, Valeera. He knows giving in, even a little bit, could send her spiraling.
But for Valeera, it's Broll's life on the line.
Loyalty wins, every time. She ignores the warning, ignores the potential consequences for herself. She drains the staff, unleashing that power to save Broll's life. It's an incredible act of loyalty, of sacrifice.
But the price is immediate.
Immediate and devastating. The second that power hits her system, the craving comes roaring back. That dormant hunger wakes up, and it's starving.
How bad is it?
The source material says with that first taste, she hungered for more. The proof. The literal moment they dock in Menethil Harbor, she drains the magic from the very first person she encounters, just takes it. The descent had begun.
Wow. Okay. That sets a chilling stage for part 3. The addiction isn't just a background struggle anymore. It's front and center, and about to get much, much darker.
Yeah, the slide is incredibly rapid. As they travel from Menethil towards Ironforge, her need just consumes her. They stop at a tavern, a brawl breaks out. Standard stuff.
An opportunity for her.
Exactly. She drains a wizard involved in the fight. She tells herself, probably tells the others, it was to protect Varian. But deep down, it was the craving driving her.
But the real turning point, the moment it becomes clear this is more than just arcane hunger, happens at a market, right?
Oh yeah, this is terrifying. They're browsing stalls, and she sees a dagger. But it's not just enchanted. It's infused with fell magic.
Okay, pause there. Arcane magic is like the raw energy source. Fell magic is different.
Very different. Think of arcane as pure energy. Fell magic is corrupted energy. It's chaotic, destructive, demonic in nature, highly addictive, far more than regular arcane magic. It's like comparing pure water to, well, something much darker and more potent.
So if arcane was already a struggle for her,
Fell is like the ultimate temptation. The source notes specifically say that when she touched that dagger, the taste of its magic was very, very sweet. It offers this huge rush of power, but it corrupts you, body and soul.
and she can't resist it.
She's completely drawn in. Broll has to physically wrestle the dagger away from her, pull her back from the brink. It shows the addiction is becoming this physical compulsion, overriding her will.
And this internal battle starts having external consequences. Real ones.
Definitely. As they travel through the wetlands, the withdrawal hits her hard. Not just cravings, but physical effects. Tremors, shaking hands.
Which is bad news for a rogue who relies on precision.
Catastrophic. She can't throw her daggers accurately. And because of that, during a fight with some dark iron dwarves, Broll gets hit. Takes an axe to the back. A serious wound.
Directly because she couldn't function properly.
Exactly. And that moment, seeing Broll hurt because of her weakness, that's her rock bottom. She finally truly acknowledges how bad it is. She promises Broll she'll take his herbal remedies, the ones she probably resisted before. She promises to fight it.
But just as she makes that vow, fate throws another curveball. Onyxia isn't done trying to kill Logosh.
Onyxia sends a new assassin, and this one is perfectly chosen to exploit Valeera's specific vulnerability, Vendolin Soulfire, a blood elf warlock.
A warlock, so someone who deals directly in fell magic and demons.
Precisely. Vendolin takes one look at Valeera and immediately senses that she's tasted fell magic before, that she craves it. And he uses that connection, that vulnerability, as an anchor for something truly horrifying.
What does he do?
He curses her with the mark of Kaf'natir.
Okay, this sounds bad. Who or what is Kaf'natir?
Kaf'natir isn't a what, he's a who. A very powerful, very ancient dreadlord. Think demons like Mal'Ganis, Tichondrius, masters of manipulation, corruption, fear. Kaf'natir was one of them.
A dreadlord. So this isn't just about addiction anymore.
No, this is full-blown demonic possession. Kaf'natir had actually been defeated centuries ago by Egwin, the first guardian of Tirisfal, and his spirit was imprisoned. Vendolin's curse essentially ripped that spirit from its prison and jammed it into Valeera's soul, using her prior taste of fell magic as the gateway.
Oh my god, so she goes from fighting an addiction to literally hosting an ancient, powerful demon inside her, a demon that feeds on the very magic she craves.
It's the stuff of nightmares. The source material describes it vividly. Kaf'natir wasn't just a voice in her head. He was crawling under her skin, through her soul, actively corrupting her. The team manages to kill Vendolin the Warlock fairly quickly, but the curse, the mark, it's already taken root. It's permanent.
How does Valeera react to this, realizing she's possessed?
Utter despair. She's completely broken by it. She actually begs Broll to kill her. She'd rather die than live with this thing inside her, twisting her, using her.
But Broll refuses.
Absolutely. Shows how far their relationship has come, right? The night elf who distrusted her now promises to help her fight this demon. He even makes her a special brew to try and help manage the withdrawal, the demon's influence. He becomes her anchor.
She manages to suppress it for a bit?
Through sheer force of will, yeah.
Yeah.
For a short time. But the real test comes as they reach Ironforge. Varian and Broll need to go deep into Blackrock depths to find Marshal Windsor, the key to exposing Onyxia. But they can't risk taking Valeera like this.
She's too unstable, too dangerous.
Exactly. And right as they're about to part ways at the gates of Ironforge, disaster strikes. An Onyxia spy, a dragonkin disguised, attacks Varian.
And Valeera reacts instinctively.
Loyalty override again. She jumps in to defend Varian. It must be the 5th or 6th time by now. She sees the dragon spy has a magical dagger, and without thinking, she drains it to get the power boost needed to save Varian.
But draining magic feeds Kaf'natir.
It gives the demon exactly what it wants. Power. Strength. The consequences are immediate and terrifying. She loses control completely, starts screaming curses in Ardun, the demonic language.
Does she attack them?
She nearly does. Turns on Broll and Varian, eyes burning with demonic energy. It's horrifying for them to see, and it makes it crystal clear. She can't control this. She's a danger not just to herself, but to everyone around her, especially the people she cares about most.
So Varian and Broll have to make that impossible choice.
They have to leave her behind in Ironforge, not abandoning her, but containing the threat. They have to go find Windsor, expose Onyxia. Valeera has to face this demon alone.
Which must have been her absolute worst fear, realized being left alone again, but this time with a monster inside her.
Exactly. And that night, alone, grappling with the withdrawal, the demon's whispers, Kaf'natir launches his biggest psychological assault yet.
What does he do?
He preys on her deepest trauma. She experiences this incredibly vivid vision. Her dead parents appear before her.
Oh, that's cruel.
Peak dreadlord manipulation. They tell her Varian and Broll are just like everyone else, arrogant, dishonorable. They abandon her, see? Proving she was always destined to be alone, just like when the bandits killed them.
Trying to push her into complete despair.
And urging her to embrace the darkness. The vision tells her the world needs to be healed by death, that she should unleash Kaf'natir's power, let it consume everything.
Just as she's about to break, something happens.
Yeah. As she's teetering on the edge, ready to give in, a blinding light just shatters the vision, destroys the demonic illusion.
Who is it? Or what is it?
It's Egwene, the former guardian of Tirsfall, Medivh's mother, the very person who defeated Kaf'natir in the first place.
Wow. Talk about timing. Why does Egwene intervene now?
She likely sensed Kaf'natir's resurgence, his presence within Valeera. Remember, she imprisoned him. His release would be a major red flag for her. She appears not as a warrior this time, but as, well, maybe a counselor, a source of strength.
Can she remove the curse? Can she just fix it?
And this is crucial. No. Egwene tells Valeera she cannot cleanse the mark of Kaf'natir. Even Egwene, with all her immense power, can't just magically undo this deep demonic corruption tied to fell magic.
Why is that limitation so important?
Because it tells Valeera and us that there's no easy out. No magical fix is coming. If the most powerful mage around can't remove it, the solution has to come from within Valeera herself.
So what does Egwene offer instead?
Hope and perspective. She gives Valeera the psychological weapon she needs. She reminds her that she isn't alone, that Varian and Broll and others genuinely care for her, love her even, that their leaving was an abandonment but a necessity born of danger.
So she tells her she's stronger than the demon.
Exactly. That her strength lies in those connections, in her own will, not in the tainted magic Kaf'natir offers. It's the counter-narrative to the demon's lies.
A pep talk from a legend. Does it work?
It gives Valeera the resolve she needs. It shifts her perspective from despair to determination. She goes back to her room, picks up Broll's bitter herbal brew, and makes a decision. A hard one.
What was the lamb?
Starve the beast. She decides the only way to beat Kaf'natir is to deny him what he craves. Magic. She commits to enduring the withdrawal, the pain, the demon's whispers, the constant agony, without giving in, without draining any magic.
That sounds incredibly difficult, especially for a blood elf with an inherent need, amplified by a dreadlord.
It's arguably one of the greatest feats of pure willpower we see in the entire lore. She fights tooth and nail, minute by minute, denying the demon, regaining control through sheer, agonizing self-discipline.
And she succeeds.
She does. She pushes Kaf'natir back, forces him into dormancy within her soul, she regains control of herself, and just as she achieves this monumental victory...
Varian and Broll return.
Exactly. They come back with Marshal Windsor, who confirms the truth. Lady Kathra'natir Prester, the noble advisor in Stormwind, is the black dragon Onyxia. With Valeera now stable, clean, and fiercely resolved, she rejoins them. The trio is back together, ready for the final confrontation.
And they head back to Stormwind. We know how that ends the epic showdown, Onyxia using magic to try and kill Lo'Gosh, accidentally merging the two Varians back into the one true King Varian Wrynn. Onyxia is defeated, Anduin is saved, the king is restored.
A huge victory. The immediate threat that brought them together is gone. But Varian, now whole, immediately turns his attention to Lo'Gosh's goal, peace with the Horde. He sets up a summit with Thrall.
Which unfortunately goes disastrously wrong. And this is where Valeera's story takes another huge turn, moving into part 5, Sacrifice and the Old Gods.
Yeah, the peace summit at Theramore. It's a catastrophe. It's attacked by the Twilight's Hammer cult. And they're using Garona Halforsen the Assassin, controlled by magic, just like her mother was.
Garona, who assassinated Varian's father, King Lane, decades ago.
The historical echo is terrifying, and under this spell, Garona nearly kills Varian. It's almost history repeating itself exactly.
But Valeera is there.
Valeera dives in, saves Varian's life again. She seems to make a habit of this.
But Varian, seeing Garona the assassin from his childhood nightmares, he doesn't see the nuance, does he?
No. The trauma is too deep. He sees Garona, assumes the Horde center that Thrall betrayed him. The peace talks Completely collapse right there. Utter disaster.
Garona is captured by Varian's forces, but her son, Medon, who is trying to help her, gets captured by the retreating Twilight's hammer.
Right, and this is where Valeera makes a defining choice about her future loyalty. Varian is heading back to Stormwind. The threat of the Lich King is looming over Northrend.
And Valeera decides not to go with him.
She stays behind. It's a huge moment. First, she gives young Prince Anduin a quick lesson in knife throwing, a subtle passing of the torch, maybe, ensuring his protection continues.
And then she tells Varian why she's staying.
She tells him she has to stay. She needs to help Garona find her son, Medon. But it's not just sympathy for Garona.
It's strategic, isn't it?
Absolutely. Valeera understands that Garona, even captured, holds the key. Who controlled her? Who sent the Twilight's hammer? Why attack the Peace Summit? Protecting Varian and Anduin long-term means finding the source of these threats, not just reacting to attacks. Garona has the answers.
But Garona is magically compelled not to reveal her master.
Right. So Jaina Proudmoore has to step in. She uses this incredibly painful spell to forcibly extract the information from Garona's mind. Garona endures absolute agony, but she does it for her son. She screams out the location. Maiden and the leader of the Twilight's Hammer, cho'gal, are in the ruins of Ahn'Qiraj.
Ahn'Qiraj, the prison of the old god Sithon. Okay, so Valeera has her target. Who joins her on this rescue mission?
She's joined by Merrill Fellstorm, an interesting character, an ancient undead human mage. Turns out Merrill had secretly raised Medon for Garona for years.
An undead mage. Given Valeera's history with the Scourge, that must have caused some friction.
Oh, major friction. Valeera initially refused point-blank to work with him. Her trauma around the undead was intense. It took persuasion, probably from Egwene's ally Adrian again, and just the sheer stakes of the mission for her to finally agree. She had to swallow her own deep-seated revulsion to save Medon.
So this uneasy alliance heads to Ahn'Qiraj.
They teleport right into the heart of it. They find Medon near the corpse of the old god Sithon, and cho'gal is there.
cho'gal, the two-headed ogre mage, leader of the Twilight's Hammer, and presumably powered up by old god juice.
Massively powered up. He's drawing energy directly from Sithon's corpse, or maybe it's lingering essence. He's monstrously powerful. He takes out Merrill Fellstorm almost immediately, just swats him aside.
Leaving Valeera alone with Medon against this old god-empowered behemoth.
Yeah. Valeera tells Medon to focus everything on healing Merrill, get him back in the fight. She knows she has to buy time, but she also knows she stands no chance against cho'gal alone. Not like this.
She needs power. And there's only one dangerous source readily available to her now.
She has to drain magic, knowing full well it will awaken and empower Kaf'natir inside her. She makes a calculated choice, drains some energy from the downed Merrill, just enough for a boost.
But cho'gal, being attuned to old gods and dark magic, he senses the demon within her, doesn't he?
Instantly. He recognizes Kaf'natir's presence. And he starts taunting the dreadlord, trying to draw him out, maybe corrupt him further with old god power. Come out and play, essentially.
So Valeera is facing this impossible choice. Fight cho'gal and lose. Or unleash the demon she fought so hard to suppress.
It's the ultimate test. The source material describes her thought process here. She thinks about Broll, what he would advise. And she knows Broll would say, die honorably, don't free the demon. It would be the noble sacrifice.
But Valeera chooses differently.
She makes a different kind of sacrifice, a choice for life, for possibility. The text says she decided it was better to live for who knows what the morrow might bring. It's pragmatic, maybe even desperate, but it's a choice to keep fighting, keep protecting.
She accepts the demon. Gives Kaf'natir control.
She consciously feeds him the magic he craves, unleashing the dreadlord fully. Kaf'natir takes over her body, erupting with demonic power, and launches himself at cho'gal.
A dreadlord versus an old god-empowered ogre mage. That must have been quite a fight.
An epic clash of dark powers. Kaf'natir fights with incredible fury, all his pent-up demonic rage unleashed. He can't actually beat cho'gal, who's just too juiced up on Sithon's power, but he doesn't need to win.
He just needs to buy time.
Enough time for Medon to successfully heal Merrill Fellstorm. Once Merrill is back on his feet, Kaf'natir sees his chance. Valeera's body is weakened now, drained. He abandons her.
And tries to possess Medon, who has massive potential power.
Exactly. Medon, with his mixed heritage and latent abilities, would be the ultimate prize vessel for a dreadlord. It looks like disaster again.
But Merrill steps in.
Merrill Fellstorm makes the final incredible sacrifice. He offers himself to Kaf'natir, take me instead. And for a dreadlord seeking a powerful, resilient host, Merrill, an ancient, magically adept undead human. He's a far better, more controllable vessel than the volatile potential of Medern.
Kaf'natir takes the bait.
He does. He possesses Merrill Fellstorm, who manages somehow to contain the demon within his own undead form. It's a terrible fate for Merrill, but it works.
And Valeera?
Valeera is free, the mark, the curse, the demon gone, forever, freed by Merrill's sacrifice.
Wow, after everything. So what's her role after this? cho'gal is still around?
She recovers quickly. She assists the newly reformed Council of Tirisfal, which includes Merrill Kaf'natir now, Aegwynn, Jaina, and others. She specifically helps Garona get the base of the legendary Great Staff of the Guardian, Atish, to Medn.
And Medn uses that power to defeat cho'gal.
Yeah, exactly. Medn channels the staff's power, defeats cho'gal, and fulfills his destiny, at least for that arc. Valeera's mission, born from loyalty and the need to protect Varian, is finally complete.
Okay, that's a massive defining arc. Let's wrap this up with part 6, Legacy and Mystery. She beat the demon, helped save the world from cho'gal. What happens to her right after these huge events?
Well, first, a little housekeeping. Her deep involvement in this whole comic storyline actually retconned some earlier minor appearances. Like, she was technically shown briefly in the background during the Wrath of the Lich King pre-launch event in Stormwind, but the comic story basically overwrites that continuity.
So her main confirmed appearance during the Wrath era is actually during the battle for the Undercity.
Yes. When Varian leads the Alliance assault into the Undercity after the Wrathgate betrayal, she's explicitly shown standing right there beside him as he rallies the troops. Silent, loyal, present.
And moving forward, the key thing about her is this idea of personal loyalty, right? Not faction loyalty.
Absolutely. It's stated very clearly her allegiance is to Varian Wrynn and his son Anduin, the people. Not the Alliance banner, not Stormwind as a political entity. This non-aligned status is really important. It gives her freedom to operate outside the usual constraints.
And she uses that freedom to disappear.
Pretty much. Shortly after the events of Wrath and the cho'gal stuff, she vanishes. We know this from the novel Stormrage. Broll Bearmantle actually asks Varian how Valeera's doing.
And Varian says
she left Stormwind weeks ago and nobody has seen her since. She just slipped away.
So after battling addiction, possession, old god cultists, she decides to go off the grid. Even from Varian, the person she's most loyal to. Any idea why?
The implication is that she's pursuing threats quietly, dealing with the stuff Varian, as a very public king, can't. Maybe tracking down remaining Twilight's hammer cells, other assassins, dealing with lingering demonic or magical threats in the shadows. We know she's still around. Obviously, she's a major figure in Hearthstone, honing her card skills, apparently.
Hey, right. But in the main storyline, she remains mostly unseen.
Exactly. A rogue operating in the truest sense.
Okay, let's synthesize this. Why does Valeera Sanguinar matter so much? Why dedicate a deep dive to a character who spends so much time off-screen?
She matters because her story is one of the most powerful depictions of overcoming trauma and addiction in the entire Warcraft universe. She faced this biological imperative, this addiction inherent to her race, had it horrifically amplified by demonic possession.
And she beat it. Not with magic, but with sheer willpower, help from friends, and counseling from Aegwynn.
Right, and then there's the sacrifice, that moment in Entourage where she consciously chose to unleash the demon, potentially damning herself, because she valued the lives and the future of her friends more than her own spiritual purity. It's profound.
She was the constant unseen protector for the Wrynns when they were most vulnerable. The quiet force ensuring Varian could be restored, Onyxia defeated, Medan saved.
She's the quintessential rogue hero working from the shadows, getting little public credit, but absolutely essential to the survival of key figures and the defeat of major threats.
So to recap this journey, we followed Valeera from an orphan thief to a gladiator slave, forced to confront a crippling magical hunger tied directly to her loyalty.
She endured demonic possession, fought an incredible internal battle of wills, received guidance from a guardian, and ultimately made a sacrifice that freed her but could have destroyed her, all to protect her chosen family and stop a major threat. She really embodies resilience and the complex nature of loyalty.
Which leads us perfectly to our final provocative thought for you, the listener, something to chew on based on where her story leaves off.
Okay, so think about this. Valeera possesses this unique skill set. She's a master tracker, proven capable of hunting assassins across continents. She has intimate knowledge of fell magic and demonic influence. And her loyalty is explicitly to the Wrynn family, not the Alliance as a whole. So why has she been almost entirely absent during major recent crises involving them?
Like the Legion invading, Storm being attacked, and being kidnapped and controlled by the jailer. Where was Valeera?
Exactly. We know she's alive. If her loyalty is paramount, and she has the perfect skills to track down kidnappers or uncover shadowy plots, why wasn't she front and center during the Shadowlands crisis, trying to rescue Anduin? If she's not involved in these huge, obvious conflicts, what bigger, quieter, perhaps more insidious threat has been occupying the attention of Azeroth's greatest shadow operative for the better part of a decade? Is she still hunting the roots of that corruption she swore to Varian she'd find?
That is the great mystery, isn't it? What is the rogue in the shadows currently fighting? Definitely food for thought. And that's all the time we have for this deep dive into the complex, resilient, and fiercely loyal Valeera Sanguinar.
Until next time, keep digging into those lore shadows. You never know what you'll find. See you then.